All right, here we go. We have come down to it. Tomorrow is the last day to register to vote in the November election.
So we have a big race here in Arizona, as you may have noticed, a Senate race, of course. Democratic Congresswoman Kyrsten Sinema running against Republican Congresswoman Martha McSally.
So last week we spoke to McSally here on AZAM. So to give equal time this morning, Congresswoman Kyrsten Sinema joins us live in studio. Good to see you.
Well, it's great to be back
you.
with you both.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Home stretch, right? I mean,
That's right.
What's that like?
Well, as you guys know, early voting starts on Wednesday when ballots are mailed out. And so our campaign is just laser focused on communicating with Arizonans over these last 4 weeks to make sure they understand the clear differences between me and my opponent, Martha.
Okay, so we, moments ago in the commercial break we were chatting, there was an attack ad against you, and we thought, oh, well, the timing.
Yeah.
Right.
What has it really been like to watch some of those things on TV and to have to respond to some of them as well?
Well, it's unfortunate that Martha has chosen to run a campaign that's based on just lies and dirty attacks. I think Arizonans don't want that. And what they want is a candidate who's going to talk about the issues that matter to everyday Arizonans. As you'll see from our ads and the work I'm doing, I'm communicating with Arizonans about the issues that matter most to them, like protecting health care and serving our veterans and taking care of folks so they can get good jobs. I think Arizonans are going to make a choice on who shares their values and who they trust to stand up and fight for them.
Okay.
You've been walking a fine line the last several years. You probably own the most famous dress in Arizona right now, which is the pink dress, the tutu that you've been shown in over and over.
Actually, I don't own it anymore.
Oh, you don't own it anymore? Okay.
Well, because that was 17 years ago.
Okay, so is that the point?
You know.
So are you saying that, look, that was me then, this is me now? Is that how you're explaining that?
Well, I have always taken very seriously the concern about whether or not to send our troops into harm's way. You know, my big brother's a Marine and my little brother's still active duty in the Navy. And so I take the concerns of protecting our men and women in uniform and our veterans very seriously. And our campaign is really focused on what's the work we do now to protect our military families and protect our troops and protect our veterans. Again, Martha's chosen to run a campaign with just these old attacks and just really lies from the past.
So your views have changed, is what you're saying, from that time till now?
Well, I think most Arizonans would agree that the war was not a great idea for our men and women and troops. And what I'm focused on now is making sure that we're taking care of our men and women in uniform and protecting them when they come home.
You know, something that Troy hung out with Governor Doug Ducey last week, I hung out with his challenger, David Garcia. A couple of issues that kind of came up. Obviously, public education came up, but water issues in our state. Your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, Senator Kyle has been a real leader when he was in the United States Senate on water, and now he's back again, so I'm really looking forward to working with him when I join the United States Senate next year to make sure we're addressing the long-term water issues in Arizona. We really do have a lot of work to do to make sure that we can protect the water that we have and prepare for the future as our state continues to grow.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see the two parties working together at the Senate level, which brings me to my next question, this Brett Kavanaugh nomination that we went through over the last week. Your thoughts on that, and how would you have voted with the information we have?
You know, I was incredibly disappointed in the whole process. You know, just hours after the president announced his nomination, Martha and other politicians were announcing that they fully supported him or that they horribly opposed him, and no one knew anything about him at the time. So I called for a slow, thorough, and careful examination, and instead what we saw was really a circus. It was embarrassing by both parties, and they really lowered the conversation. What we should be doing when a nominee comes forward is taking the time to be careful and thorough and respectful of the process. And unfortunately, we didn't see that from either party. And I think Arizonans deserve better. So I was frustrated when they tried to move forward without doing an investigation. I was glad when Senator Flake called for an investigation, but I was incredibly disappointed just a few days later when the Senate wouldn't share the results with the American public. Right. We deserve that transparency. So I would say the entire process was just really a circus.
So would you have voted up or down?
You know, I was concerned with Brett Kavanaugh's testimony. It was pretty partisan. And I was also concerned that he appeared to not tell the truth under oath several times. And so I would have wanted an opportunity to talk with him personally before making that final vote. But ultimately, I couldn't have supported someone who didn't tell the truth under oath.
Okay.
Congresswoman Sinema, thank you so much for coming in. Good luck going forward.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And again, make sure you vote, no matter how you're going to vote, because it's happening very quickly.
Wednesday.